In this video we create a rec application that we can also eventually sell. This will be somehow similar to a rec application that we already built. We also want to start with a Google Drive trigger node so that we can update this thing really fast with Google Drive and insert our stuff in a Pinecone vector database, and then the rec application can simply answer questions. This is especially important for businesses. Businesses have all the time a lot of Q&As. They need to answer the same questions over and over again, and the rec application can help you with these. This rec application will not only do customer support, but it will also capture leads. So if people give us their email addresses or phone numbers or whatever, we will simply make a Google Sheet and insert our leads so that we have updates all the time. So let's just start out. We are of course in the cloud hosted application from n8n. In my example here I am in the n8n cloud interface, but of course you could be on Render or wherever. Then you press create workflow. Then we press plus. What we want to have, of course, is right now Google Drive as the trigger node, so we simply press on Google Drive. On changes involving a specific folder is what we want to use here. You need to connect your Google Drive account. Of course, you know how to do this. If it's empty, go to your Google Drive console and simply connect the stuff. Then the mode is every minute. This is fine. At part-time is okay. Trigger on changes involving specific folder. This is also fine. Then we need, of course, a folder. Let's just make a new one. So I am in my Google Drive, new folder. Let's just call it rec application. We press create. Now you can simply go into this file. Then we come back into n8n. We press here from list. What we want to search is, of course, the rec application. So the rec app. It's this thing here. Then watch for file created, because we want to create new files here in it. And what we want to do also right now is to simply upload here some data that we want to train our rec application later on. And then we press fetch test event and see if this thing is working or not. For the purpose of this tutorial, I have simply made a company or an example company. It's the Gold Digger company. It's basically a goldsmith. And here we have a FAQ, so some general information like phone, email, the website and so on. What gold they have to work with, if they make rings and so on. This is basically just a Q&A. But this would be of course a standard Q&A that a lot of people would like to have included in the rec application. What I am doing right now is that I make a text file. I call it Q&A Gold Digger. And in this Q&A Gold Digger, I simply insert this information so we can throw it in. And you can also make this in Markdown if you want to have here better information. But like once again, for the sake of this tutorial, I think this is completely fine. The LLM will understand this. So we can simply save this. We can close this down. And what I am doing right now is to insert this Gold Digger Q&A into my Google Drive folder, into the rec application. Right now this thing is loaded up, so we can come back into n8n. We have here, of course, folder, rec application, watch for file created. Then we can simply press fetch test event, and we should get, of course, our text file. So there you see it, the schema is text. And if you scroll down, you see that the original file name is the Q&A Gold Digger text file. So this thing worked completely fine. Our first step is okay. Now we press plus and we need to go on. But before we do this, let's just call this, let's just say Goldsmith to Pinecone. And now we press plus and we go on with the next notes. Once again, we use of course Google Drive. We want to have Google Drive. Download file. Google Drive account is created. Resources file, operation is download, and the file we want to have, the file of course from the list. Basically every time as soon as we insert something we want to download it. Or actually let's just say by ID, then we can come here on our schema, we scroll down until you find spaces, and under spaces you find the file ID, and we can simply throw in the ID right here, and now we press test step. And you will see that we can basically download this text file. There we have it. So basically right now we have our file. Now let's just go to Pinecone. We come to Pinecone, we log in. We go on with Google, create index. Let's just call it Goldsmith. But of course you have to write this small The dimensions are fine, but please make sure to use the right embeddings. I always like the small embeddings from OpenAI, and the dimensions are fine, and then you can simply press create index. Now we are here, the index is created of course. API keys, create API key. Let's just call it Goldsmith, create key. We can copy this key. Of course, you can also use one of the other API keys that you have created, but let's just make a new one, assuming that you did not do this until now. Then we come back, of course, into n8n and we press plus because we need to go on with Pinecone. So we want to have the Pinecone vector store, add documents to vector store. You need to connect your API key, so let's just create a new one. We simply insert our API key, press save, and then we are hopefully connected. If you did this until now, congratulations, you have not to do this. Operation mode is insert documents, of course. The Pinecone index we can choose from it. It's, of course, the Goldsmith. We want to have properties, we press on it, a Pinecone namespace. What I like to do is a Q&A. So the first thing is a Q&A. And right now we are done. We need to have, of course, the embeddings. I use once again the OpenAI embeddings. We use the OpenAI embeddings free small. You need to connect your OpenAI API key. You already know this. Then, of course, we need some documents. We use the default document loader. Type of data, you can also use binary because we have here a text file. Mode, load all input data. Data format is okay right here. Then what we need, of course, once again is to press plus. We want to have a character text splitter, and I think the recursive character text splitter is once again some of the best thing here. Chunk size, it's not a big file, so I think like 500 works great. And the overlap of just 20 is here also more than enough. This will be really accurate and also not too expensive because our file is not that big. So I think this thing should work right now. So what we want to do right now is to press save, of course, and we simply press test workflow and see if this thing is working or not. But I think this should work. Boom, there we have it. 7 items are added to our Pinecone vector database. If we come to Pinecone, go into databases, we have here the Goldsmith. Let's just click on it. You see, this connect thing is working right now, so I think we will get our 7 records like in no time whatsoever here. Boom, there we have it. We have our 7 files here. And if you go on namespaces, you see you have your Q&A namespace. This thing is right now really cool because what we want to do right now is to simply make this from inactive to active. We press got it, and then we can simply come here into Google Drive and upload new data, and the new data will get inserted into our Pinecone vector database. So every time, as soon as you get new information from your client, you can simply come to your Google Drive and upload this data. So let's just test this out. We want to upload once again a little bit more data. Or actually, let's just work with this data and do this later so that you can see that we previously will not get the answer and then we get the answer. So we have the first part of our workflow. Then we come back here to personal, of course. Then we press create workflow once again. And right now we need to build out our RAG application. We press plus. We want to use an AI agent node with the chat trigger. So we use the AI agent node. It's the tool agent. Everything is fine. Then what we want to insert is, of course, a chat model. We use once again the OpenAI chat model. We want to have GPT-4 Omni, not the Mini, and also not 4.5, because I think right now the Omni model is a good model if we compare performance and price. We also want to have a little bit of memory, so let's just use a Windows buffer memory here. And maybe we can go on with like 12 chats so that this thing understands for a little bit what we are talking about. And then we need, of course, some tools. We want to have the, let's just see, vector store question answer tool. We give this a name. Let's just call it Goldsmith. We want to copy these because we also want to call this thing here GoldQ. It works a little bit better sometimes. Then you need to describe this. Gives answers related to the company, Gold Digger. I think this works fine right now. And there we have it. Now we need to press plus once again because we want to have a vector store. It's of course our Pinecone vector store. You need to connect this with your API key, the operation mode, retrieve documents, of course. Then you need to choose from list. we have of course the goldsmith here. We want to have of course the properties, so the Pinecone namespace. And the Pinecone namespace was of course this Q&A. So we can simply copy this Q&A. We come here back. The Pinecone namespace is the Q&A, and then this thing should work. Now we need to go on because we want to have here a chat model. We use the OpenAI chat model. Once again, not the mini model. Let's just use the Omni model, GPT-4 Omni. There we are connected, and lastly some embeddings. We use the OpenAI embeddings once again with the text embeddings 3 small, and we are connected. This thing should work right now. Let's just see if it works. So let's just make it here a little bit in this way. Yes. Before we add other tools, let's just see if this thing is working. Of course, we call it first of all Goldsmith Rec App. We press save. We press open chat. Now let's just say hey and see if we get an answer back. There we have it. Hello, how can I assist you today? My name is Arnie. And let's just see, if I ask what is my name, this thing should know that my name is Arnie. Boom, there we have it, because the Windows buffer memory knows my name. And if I ask now something from the Q&A, we should get an answer. Let's just open the Q&A. So this thing is the Q&A, and we ask something like, do you offer online orders? We copy these. We throw it in here and we send this out. And remember, we do not have any system prompt right now. And that's the problem. So we did not trigger this, and that's why we need to give a system prompt. So the Windows buffer memory works, but the vector database does not work. So we need to come to our AI agent, add options, system message, expression, make it big. And then we can give this thing a system prompt. Role, you are a friendly assistant for a goldsmith named Gold Digger. Yes, this is a really cool name. Task, you answer questions about the business. Details, you have access to various tools, which you use correctly. Tools, Goldsmith Q. Use this tool to answer questions with knowledge about the company. And basically, I tell this thing that it has more tools because we need to add some tools later. But first, let's just test this thing out right now if it is working or not. So we simply clear this chat, reset. And we ask right now something from the Q&A once again, and right now it should work. So do you offer online orders? Let's just copy these, throw it in here, and we send it out. And then you see that, of course, our vector database gets searched, and then we will get, of course, our answer. Yes, you can browse and purchase selected pieces from our online store at, and here we have the URL. And basically that's also the answer that we have here. Now let's just ask something else. What is the return policy? Let's just throw this in here, and also this thing should work right now. My text document says custom-made prices are non-refundable. And also here you see Gold Digger's return policy states that custom-made prices are not refundable. However, standard prices can be refunded within 14 days if they are unworn and in their original condition. And that's basically also the same answer that we get right here. And then I ask one last thing. Let's just say, do you have a email? And let's just see if we get the email back. The email would be, of course, this thing here. And there we have it. We have also here the email address. So you see the Q&A of our rec application works, of course, great. Before we go on with these, let's just hide this chat once again. I want to insert new data into our rec application. Now let's just ask something that we do not have any answer to. For example, open chat, we clear this, and we ask something where we do not have any information. Can you recommend a specific product if I have a wedding? For example, I sent this out. I don't think that we have any answers here for weddings. So there you see it. Basically, if you are looking for a specific product for your wedding, Gold Digger and so on, create them custom gold pieces, but no specific products. That's something that we want to change right now. In order to do that, I give ChatGPT once again here something. Give me also a detailed product line with examples. Also include 5 examples for a wedding. and we send this out, and then we will retrain our rec application so that we have a little bit more. And there we have the Gold Digger product line overview, product line categories. You see we have some wedding collections and so on, engagement rings, necklace and pendants and so on, and we can simply train this thing here in it. So we can simply copy all of this. We do not need this information no longer. I create a new text file. Let's just call it product line. And then I insert this data. Of course, like this stuff, you don't have to include this. I just do this for the purpose of this tutorial. It would be optimal if you simply make this into Markdown, and I want to show you later how we can do this, but we want to make these videos a little bit faster so that you can go on with this course. Right now we have this information. You know already that we have this thing saved up. If we come here on personal, we have of course this Goldsmith to Pinecone, and this thing is of course active, so we can come on executions. Right now there's no execution that come through in the last few minutes. But if I come here right now into my Google Drive and I insert the product line, let's just see. As soon as this thing is uploaded, we should get in theory a new execution that will come here in 1 minute. So every minute this thing checks if something new gets added. So let's just see if this thing comes through or not. There you see it. Right now at this second it came through, and it also is here on succeeded. If you come back into the editor, you see nothing. You just find this on executions. And if you go into your Pinecone vector database, let's just see. Right now we have of course 18 records and no longer just 7. So this was updated, I think, correctly. We come back into n8n, we go on personal, we go on our rec application. It's this thing here. And in this thing we need to ask right now. So let's just see open chat. And we ask something about the product line. So let's just open this up and we ask something. So let's just ask, do you have something for wedding? Maybe a collection. And we send this out. Yes, Gold Digger has a beautiful, let's just make this actually a bit bigger, a beautiful wedding collection that includes custom engraved wedding bands. Let's just see if this is correct. There you see it, custom engraved wedding bands, personalized gold rings with names, dates and so on. And here you see it, personalized gold rings with names, dates and so on. The classic gold wedding band, elegant 14K yellow gold brands and so on. There you see it, classic gold wedding band with 13K yellow gold. So right now we can also ask examples for their product line. Let's just ask if we also have, for example, diamond pendant necklaces. Do you have something with diamonds actually? We will search our vector database, of course. Yes, we offer diamond pendant necklaces. That's basically the thing from here. So there you see it, our rec application works relatively good. But that's not everything that our rec application should do. This rec application should also gather leads, and I want to do this with Google Sheets. So let's just add Google Sheets here, the Google Sheets tool. Google Sheet account is connected, tool description automatically, resources, sheet within a document. Operation is not get rows because we want to append rows, there we have it, append row. The document and the sheets, of course we need to make something here. I just come to Google Sheets, create a new sheet. I call it Gold Digger Leads. Of course you can use Airtable, you can use whatever you want if you do not want to work with the Google products. Let's just use here name, phone, email, and maybe also interested in. And there we have it. This thing should work right now. So we come back to our thing here. Operation is of course append row, like I told you. Document, let's just use the Gold Digger Leads. Then the sheets is of course this first thing. We want to map everything manually, and we want to have the name, phone, email, and in what thing our client is interested, and we let the AI decide what these things are true. So basically as soon as people give us the name, phone, email and what they are interested in, we will simply have here all this information and we will get it in our Google Sheets, and so we can simply get our leads and maybe we can call them back if they are not sure or something like this. So we have this tool. Let's just make this a little bit clearer here, so that this rec application is not last. There we go. Right now we want to come to the AI agent node, of course. We make this big and we add a little bit more to this prompt. So under tools, I add the sheets. Use this tool to store contact information such as name, email, interested in, and phone number. After a customer asks about opening hours, products, or business information, ask them for their name, email, specific interests, and phone number. So this thing will be interactive. As soon as we start to chat with this thing, nothing will happen. But as soon as we start to ask about products, this thing will capture our leads for us and store them into Google Sheets. I think this should work right now relatively good. So let's just save it. And now let's just actually test this thing out. I want to start with hey, because a client could come and simply say, hey, hello, how can I assist you today? Are you looking for information about Gold Digger's products, services, or anything else? I am just here for info. My name is Arnie. Basically, this thing will tell us something back. Nice to meet you, Arnie. What specific information and so on. Let's just ask once again, what is my name? So that you can see that our Windows buffer memory is working. There you see it. And now let's just ask something specific. I want to buy a ring. Do you offer some? Then we will search the vector database, of course. We will get the answer from the Q&A. Yes, we offer a wide selection of rings at Gold Digger and so on. Feel free to ask. Let's just say, I think I will visit the store. What is the location? Great, Gold Digger is located at 123 Goldsmith Avenue and so on, basically this information. Could you please provide me with your name, email, specific interests and phone number? This way we can provide you with a better experience. So great, let's just say name Arnold, phone. Let's just type in some numbers. Mail Arnie, and Arnie, I am interested in gold rings. And now I send this out and hopefully our Google Sheets will get triggered. Boom, there we have it. And then if we come to this operation in Google Sheets, thank you Arnold and so on, if we come into Google Sheets, you see that our AI has extracted everything from our prompt. The name is Arnold, this is the phone, this is the email, and interested in gold rings. And if we come into our Google Sheets, boom, there we have it. We have our lead here with the interest, phone number, and email address. Let's just make it a little bit more complicated. Well, once again, a normal customer that comes through this rec application or to this chatbot. Hey, because people like to try out stuff. Hello, how can I assist you today and so on. Is this a good company? Gold Digger is known as a premium goldsmith and so on. I think I like it. That's great and so on. Maybe I want to buy something. What do you offer? At Gold Digger we offer rings, necklace, bracelets and so on, and also some more specific information. I like necklaces. Can you provide me specific info about the gold that you are using and your location I want to visit? There is some information about the gold, of course. Then there's also the location. And lastly, could you provide me with mail and so on? So basically, let's just make a text that is a bit bigger so that the AI has it a bit harder to extract our information. So there is a text with a lot of typos and the information is not that clear. Great to hear that. I love my experience. I really like that you answer fast. My name is Igor Small. That's why I want to have a big ring that is crafted with my name, but actually the name should be in fat letters. So you see here, to extract the name, we need to think a little bit. My mail is this right here, and people like to call me at this number, so we do not write in phone number, because like a hard-coded tool will only extract this if there's phone number included. I would like to hear from you. So let's just send this out and see if the AI does a good job to extracting this information from this text, because this text is not that great structured. Let's just press on it and there we have it. It works perfectly. Igor Small, the phone, the email and the interest. Big ring crafted with name in fat letters. And if you come into your Google Sheets, you have it once again. Igor Small, the phone, the email and also the interest. And there you have it. You have a really great rec application that can also capture some leads, and you can update the knowledge by simply drag and dropping new files into your Google Drive folder. This is an application that you can sell. But before you can sell such applications, of course, nobody will buy this thing from you. People will buy either a standalone application or, most likely in this example, a rec application that is embedded in a specific web page, and that's what we want to do over the next videos. We will simply make this rec application as a standalone application, and then we will embed it into a WordPress or HTML web page, and we will also need to use the right branding. So see you of course in the next video.